Welcome to Iron Railroad. Today we're going to be talking about the American Flyer, the Pacific 21085, and specifically just going to go over how to lubricate the drive gears. The drive gear in the 21085 is a little bit different from the normal steam locomotives of American Flyer. It's an easy lubrication system. The process is very easy, and I'm just going to go through a few steps and then also talk a little bit about the power source for the motor for the 21085. A little bit different from the other general locomotives, whether it be the 300 series, from 302, 301s, 312, 324s, 336, etc. There is no jack panel on this particular locomotive, and to lubricate the actual drive gears, the cover is a little bit different, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. I have in front of me another Pacific. It's a 282, and drive gear is typical of all the other 300 series of the American Flyer locomotives. When you want to lubricate the worm gear and the drive gear, you have to remove this cover right here. And that's just a plate, a screw and a plate. It's good to maintain a clean drive gear, because if you have old grease that's caked up in there, it definitely will impede or hinder the performance of the engine. See, that's just a cover, and this is the actual drive gear, and the worm gear is beneath that. You could remove this whole thing. I'm not going to do that now, but I just want to show you that a simple lubrication of this to clean up the box here, for the dry grease, that would actually much improve the performance of the engine. And this is a 282, and it's very typical of the 300 series, 200 and 300 series of the American Flyer locomotives. The 21805 Pacific is a little bit different, and there's actually 2 or 3 different versions of the 21805. Now, but first, let me go over show you where the gearbox is and how to get to the actual box. See, the bottom is a little bit different. You don't see a plate there with a screw. However, with this particular locomotive, this is actually the entire cover for the gearbox, and it's a screw here. It also doubles up as a weight for the engine to give it some more weight for traction. And to remove this is similar to the other way, as you will remove the plate. This is now you're removing the weighted box. This thing there a little bit tight, but that's because of the weight. But it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of a tool here, just to a pair of pliers. You can just give it a quick shove, and it'll come right out. See? So there's your gearbox. This is the and this is the actual weight. It's heavy. This is your gear. The worm gear is underneath. You also with this particular one, you can actually see the axles of the blind wheel, and actually the drive wheel, and the front wheel, which is this. You can clean the axles out, oil it up, grease it up, and with just that minor maintenance, it'll improve the performance of the locomotive. And that's it. That's really pretty simple. Just make sure you clear up any dead grease that's in here, and usually it cakes up in there. I wouldn't suggest using the old-time Vaseline, which is what American AC Gilbert used back in the early late 50s when this engine was made. There are other synthetic lubes up there. I won't leave it up to you to find out what you like best, but one of them is Super Lube, and the synthetic grease and oil is good too. So that would be a big help. And also prevent the grease from caking up. How the motor picks up the power from the tender with the 21805, that's a little bit unique too. Quite different from the other AC Gilbert steamers. Most of the other American Flyer locomotives, the steamers, they either use a female and male jack panel, such as this, or they may have a direct hookup from the tender into the motor under the cab. So the 282 and all the others usually use a jack panel or a direct hookup. The 21805 comes in two different versions. The reverse unit is in the cab, under the cab. However, the power is still picked up from the rear wheels. However, they use a connecting plug. If I could get this off, I'll show you. A connecting plug to pick up the power from the tender. And this is the two-prong plug. It usually works pretty well, especially when it's new. But after you unplug and plug it in, most people encounter some kind of a problem that when you're running the train, this plug seems to, well, it tends to pop out. And of course, when that pops out or it just gets a little loose, the locomotive stops working. So what can we do? Well, you push it back in and we have to see if it stays in. If it doesn't stay in, you may try and bending the prongs so that it has a little bit of pressure and it stays in. But if that still doesn't work, you may have to replace the plug. However, AC Gilbert recognized this problem, and another version of the 21805, they actually did away with the plug. Just to show you, the plug goes into these two holes here. Another difference with the 21805 or any of these plug-in two-prong plugins is that once the plug is in, you got to be sure the drawbar, which is down here, this drawbar, that connection is in, because this actually comes off, as you can see. But if that comes off, the engine will not run. This, I believe, actually serves as a ground. So that needs to be hooked up into the rear tender drawbar. As such, it just slips right on top. So, the design is not really the best for ease of use, but that's what it is. However, AC Gilbert actually Another version of 21805 did away with the plug, and this is what they did. This is a 21085 later version of it. You notice you can tell the locomotive has all black wheels. The other one has the white insulators. This is totally plastic. So one is the metal drive wheels and one is the plastic. These are the plastic drive wheels. So with this one, the later version model, this has a permanent rivet in the ground. So you don't have to worry about that coming off. And they still use the same tender with the 2-hole plugs. However, what AC Gilbert did was they have a direct hook up into the tender without the plug. And it seems to work much better. You don't have to worry about the plug falling out. And it works very well. And that's it. That's a short review of the 21805. Thought I'd bring that to your attention, and happy locomotive with your trains. And this is Iron Railroad. Thanks for watching.